Try to picture this. You're a teacher. You're teaching algebra. That's on your mind. You're stressed out trying to make kids understand, what you put on the chalkboard or that marker boards nowadays. Then all of a sudden, you start hearing a loud gunshot. One after another gunshots. You can hear landing on windows, landing on sheetrock, landing on brick, on the steel of the lockers, tearing through flesh, screams of fear, screams of pain. So all this is in a matter of seconds. And your job is to first make sure that the kids are in a safe position as possible. And then you're going to go ahead and go to the safe that you've been assigned to. You're going to open that safe. Get out the gun. Make sure the gun is loaded. By now, who knows how many kids are dead? By now, that AR-15, which can fire like pop, 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 pop. Okay, as fast as you could pull the fucking trigger, right? And if it has a bump stock, well, forget it. I think, okay, forget that. But anyway, you're going to go ahead and make sure it's loaded, and then you're going to slide down that door. Now, first of all, opening that door is probably a very bad idea. Because if you open that door and you get killed while you're opening it, and somebody walks into that room after killing you with an AR-15, and it's a classroom of 20, 30 kids, what do you think is going to happen to those 20, 30 kids? But let's set that aside. You've been trained by the best of the best. The best of the best have trained you for this moment. Good Guy with a Gun Academy. You went to that academy. You have been trained. You exit that room and you safely close that door. It's locked. You're good. And then you're in that hallway. You press your back against the wall. You start sliding towards where you hear the noise. You're still hearing it, by the way. Pop, 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 pop. You're still hearing screams. People are still dying. Those bullets are still tearing through flesh. Bullets are still landing, ricocheting through the bricks, through the sheetrock, through the metals, through the flesh. You're still hearing the screams. Screams of fear, screams of anguish. And then, finally, you have an idea where the bad guy with the gun is. By the way, it's still firing. Tut, 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 tut. It hasn't stopped firing. Best case scenario. Do, 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 do. You use your good guy with a gun training. You slide down that hallway. You roll. You roll to the other side of the hall. And then he didn't see you. You're looking at his back. You point. Good guy with a gun training taught you to take him out. Pop, pop, pop. Perfect shots. Take him down. He's dead. Now, he didn't save any lives. But maybe you stop more lives from dying. That is the best case scenario. Best case scenario. Hardly sounds like a solution. And then, the unintended consequences that come with guns in classrooms. You know, like accidental discharges. While the teacher's taking out that gun, there's especially while he's hearing screaming and he knows that he's with his task, his hands are sweaty and he's scared. And what if he accidentally discharges that gun and kills one of the kids or shoots himself, or like what happens then? Not to mention that he could totally get killed himself because it's an AR-15 versus a Glock. There's another death. And then there's also the scenario of you think you see where the shooter is and you know he's killing people, so you just start shooting. Because in times of fear, even soldiers have friendly fire. And before you know it, not just one gun is shooting through metal and sheetrock. Not just one gun is landing on, and ricocheting on the brick walls, but even flesh. It could also make the problem worse. And then what happens when cops who are trained to shoot first and ask questions later show up? What happens then? And they see you with a gun and they see you shooting towards the direction that kids are at. Because you're trying to shoot at the bad guy with a gun. They see a guy with a gun and they say, put the gun down, and you don't listen, or you have a moment of fear and you don't know what. It looks like you're pointing the gun at the cop and bam, you get shot. And then there's situations outside of this scenario. Accidental discharge is one of them. We can't ignore that. That's a lot of accidental discharges happen all the time, but I know they're going to be well trained. That's not going to happen. It'll be in the safe. It won't be concealed carry. If it's concealed carry, just imagine a scenario of a kid tackling down the teacher and taking that gun. Or the teacher being in fear of their life and they decide to use the gun to defend themselves against the student. And then you have a weird court case on your hand that has a lot of national attention. Do you believe the teacher that thought that their life was that this student was presenting imminent danger, even though they were unarmed? Well, cops get away with it. Why wouldn't the teacher get away with it? What if you're a teacher? You're teaching algebra. Let's rewind. You're teaching algebra. Somebody walks by the hall. Looks fishy. He's wearing all black. I don't know. That guy looks like he's up to no good. Maybe he's a minority or something. Who knows? Whatever it is. Whatever this teacher, to his judgment, perceives. And decides that he's going to get this gun out. Like tell students, shh, everybody, get back, everybody. Cause all this panic, the kids get scared, and he's tasked with this awesome responsibility of defending these kids. He gets the gun. He walks out. He has this gun on the side. He first wants to check what's going on. He says, Sir, may I help you? And when the guy turns around, fear does unexplainable things. At least we hear about that all the time. Cops say that they thought the guy had a gun. I didn't know he didn't have a gun. He wasn't armed, but oh my God, I thought he had a gun. Well, what if he thinks he has a gun, then he shoots him? And it was just somebody's older brother coming to pick up his sister because there was a family emergency. Or it was somebody's father that's just coming to pick up their daughter. Then what? There are countless scenarios where this can go completely wrong. What if a fist fight breaks out? A bunch of kids get in a big fight. Happens all the time in high schools and middle schools. A teacher hears all this commotion outside. Get back, everybody get back! Grabs his gun because he doesn't know what's going on outside. He's going to make sure that those kids are safe. He's going to come out with a gun in an escalated situation. But everybody believes this is a good idea. Look, if you want people with guns at the school, first of all, we already found out that the shooter over there in Florida knew there was an armed guard. The armed guard didn't do anything, so the good guy scenario didn't pan out in that case, right? the dude flaked. Now, it's funny to me that a lot of conservatives are calling that cop a coward and he should have put his life on the line, this, that, and the third. But when they shoot unarmed civilians, they say that they should take no risk. And that cop has a responsibility to go back home, okay, and take no risk. So it's kind of funny, but let's leave that aside for a moment. Let's leave that aside just for a little bit. Armed guards, okay, fine. Have armed guards. That's a much better idea than armed teachers. The same way they do it in other stuff. You know, like at football games, they have armed guards. At courthouses, armed guards. Concerts, armed guards. They don't arm the band when you go to a concert. Like, oh, we're going to task, that way if anybody attacks our fans, we'll have a gun ready. Right? That's not the way it works. Unless you're suggesting that everybody at the concert should have a gun. Well, that would be a stupid idea. That's like saying arm the judge at the court. Well, why are you going to arm the judge? That's insane. So the judge could protect himself. Okay. Now look, me personally, I don't like the idea of guns in schools just in general. But I'm realistic enough to understand that it might be a necessary evil, right? Like, I get that. I'm not that naive. It's just that this specific arming the teachers idea is a terrible idea. It's not going to be anywhere near as effective as people think it's going to be. And this idea that these homicidal, suicidal dudes would be scared to go to a school where there's people that are armed, really? No. They shoot their own brains out. You think they're scared of getting shot? I mean, obviously this guy wasn't scared of this armed guard anyway. So at the end of the day, right, I'm okay with armed guards at the school, right? Now, who those armed guards are, and that's a different story, okay? It shouldn't be former anything. When people say, well, former Marines. Like, well, why a former what? No. Like, if you're going to have an armed guard, it's going to be somebody that's what they fucking do. Right? No, not a former this, former that. Okay, come on. But most importantly, that aside, arming anyone is not the most, in the grand scheme of things, the most effective thing you can do is 1, bulletproof windows, 2, metal detectors. Those are the 2 most effective things you can do. And if a lunatic tries to get in, you lock him out. And let's say, he tries to get himself in, he's not going to be able to if there's bulletproof windows. It's just a matter of funding that. And what we have to ask ourselves is, are we willing to pay more in taxes to go ahead and protect these kids? I am. But we don't even have to pay more taxes. We're spending money in Iraq and Afghanistan and all this money in the military and just all this crazy amount of money. How about we put some of that money in these schools to make them safer? Metal detectors, bulletproof windows. That's it. Honestly, is that going to stop a shooter every single time? Are there still going to be a scenario in the news where somebody, got through the metal detector or shot the dude that's doing that and he got through and a bunch of kids got massacred, Yes, first of all, that's already happening now. And more guns are not going to prevent it from happening more. It's not. And regardless of how you feel, whether you think it would or wouldn't, right? Aside of how you personally feel, Right? You cannot tell me metal detectors and bulletproof windows are not a compromise. At the very least, everybody could at least agree to that. At the very least. I'm out.